The PS5 is a fantastic piece of kit, and don't let anyone tell you anything other than that, but that doesn't mean that it cannot be improved in a number of different ways. Now, with the recent system software update beta, which you can check out on the channel, I've been thinking a lot about the PS5 features that haven't made their way to the console still, like dashboard needs or quality of life improvements, and that is why I'm here today. Hello folks, it's Aaron here from Push Square, and here are the top 10 PS5 features that needed to arrive yesterday. I'm going to start off with one that's kind of obvious. Let's get it out of the way. PlayStation 5 themes on the dashboard. Why has this not happened yet? It is wild to even comprehend the reasoning behind this, considering that it is one of the most highly requested features of the PS5 since it launched nearly 3 years ago. With a suite of some stellar first-party titles, you can just imagine the potential that this holds. You turn on your PlayStation 5, you hear Bear McCreary's soundtrack from God of War Ragnarok, the wintry snows start to make their way across the dashboard, both in front of tiles and behind them. It would be magnificent, and that's just one game. You could have the bioluminescent creatures of Returnal, you could have dimension portals from Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. The potentials are endless, considering the games that we have here. And this was such a popular feature on the PS5, it just seems wild to me that it hasn't been included yet. My one thought is that the dashboard reacts to the games that you're hovering over, so there may be some complications there, but there has to be a workaround. There just has to be. This is too good a feature to miss out on. It is wild that Sony haven't implemented it yet. There's too much potential there, especially with the 4K HDR capabilities of the dashboard. Please Sony, make it happen. Next up, we have one that is kind of linking into a feature that was just added in the beta, and that is Dolby Vision. We just get Dolby Atmos support. Get the full Dolby package, come on. So if you don't know, Dolby Vision is essentially an image optimization system that gets the most out of HDR capabilities to ensure that you're getting a more dynamic and true-to-life color experience. Now, HDR is already a pretty immersive quality in games, especially over the last 2 years or so, as we started to get more realistic lighting in our games. Dolby Vision would just take it to the next level. Now, it is a little heartbreaking to know that the Xbox Series X has had this feature for quite some time, especially when you consider that it's not just the games it's impacting, it's the 4K Blu-rays as well. If you have a disc version, it acts as a 4K Blu-ray player. Dolby Vision just makes those 4Ks pop that bit more. And don't tell my boss this, but whenever I'm watching a 4K Blu-ray, because it's not on the PlayStation 5, I'm using my Series X. I promise, I'm a PlayStation guy through and through. Adding this feature though would just ensure that the games that we are playing are to the best standard possible, both visually looking their best and becoming the most immersive experiences that we can imagine as well. The next one's for you VR lovers out there, but PSVR 2 dedicated UI is an absolute must at this stage. Now, when you look at the PSVR 2, which is a vastly improved piece of tech with all of these incredible features, the UI for menus and such just hasn't really evolved too much. Now, we are getting the PS5's version of the dashboard, which in itself is improved somewhat. When you're playing in VR and you press the home button on the DualSense or the Sense controller, you're treated to a sort of just basic bar that comes up, or completely flat screen experience when you go straight into the dashboard, and I think it just kind of ruins the immersion. Cast your mind off to a future where the PSVR 2 allows you to use eye tracking to select things in its menu, or maybe even just a dashboard experience that's an all-encompassing 3D environment. It doesn't need to be too technologically advanced, but I just feel like the features are there in the PSVR 2, and when everything else is leaps and bounds ahead of what came before, the menu experience has stayed much the same, and I'd like to change that. For this next one, I kinda don't see the point, but I kinda do, but PS5 Web Browser is something that's a little odd to be missing here, considering it was there in the PS4. I do think if it's included again, it would need to be vastly improved because it was tremendously tedious in the past, operating through its web browsers with a controller, so I do think it would need to be revamped in a way to make it worth it for me, but it seems like an easy fix, especially since it is sort of there, because if you click a link in the PlayStation messages, it will take you to a sort of web browser. I don't think it would be impossible for this to be included. Bluetooth headphone support is an ideal world situation. I would love for it to happen. It would earn Sony some major brownie points, but it never will happen. Gaming companies just make too much money selling individual purpose-made headsets to allow for just general headphones to be used on their consoles. I do think though that it would be a great feature because it not only allows you to potentially use a pair of headphones you've already got, saving you the money of buying another headset for gaming, but it also sort of opens up the headsets that we can use depending on the comfort or the build or the sound quality, or even things like wireless headphones like AirPods or Samsung Buds. It would add a lot more versatility. It would allow you to sort of funnel your money into one better headset rather than a headset for home and music and a headset for gaming. And I know that there are arguments to still do that anyway, but the option being there is certainly something that I think a lot of people would appreciate. A great streamlined feature from the PS4 days now on the PS5 is the ability to watch a friend's gameplay through share screen whilst you're playing your own game. You can put it on a panel at the side, you can have a floating window and place it wherever you want, and I think it would be phenomenal if you took that idea and applied it to other apps like YouTube, Twitch, or Netflix. There are a lot of games out there that are sort of background noise, and not in a bad way. It's great to just sort of play a game that you don't have to think about too much, and for many of us, I think having something on top of that would be a great feature. Imagine playing a game whilst watching your favourite streamer also play that game, or listening to lore videos while playing Destiny 2, something I've done many times, or just getting in with your daily challenges in a live service game whilst watching an episode of something on Netflix. I don't know. This is also one that's kinda possible already, because if you click a link to a YouTube video in the PlayStation messages, it will open it in web browser, you can then pin it to the side, but it's far from ideal, it's very finicky, and I think a purpose-built, streamlined experience would go such a long way to making the PlayStation 5 feel like a far more customizable experience. I've always appreciated how focused on gaming the PS5 is, but I don't think there's really an issue with bringing some external factors out whilst within the context of gaming itself. Proper Discord integration is just a must at this point. Now, I am forever grateful for the fact that we can join Discord parties and servers and use them on the PlayStation 5. It ended the double headphone era for me because I refused to be chatting to my friends but not hear anything in the game, so this is an absolute godsend, but it could be so much better. At the moment, if you want to access a chat or a server, you're having to do so on the Discord app on your phone or on desktop. Then you have to transfer it to the PS5, and from there you still can't invite other people, so it's not really like a full experience. I would love to see like a fully integrated Discord experience that brought a lot of the features from that app onto the PS5, like being able to just invite people or join parties via the PS5. It would really feed into that social experience, especially since crossplay is becoming all the more common, and I think this will happen at some point, but it'd be great to see it happen pretty soon. Please. I love a bit of gamer data. I love looking at my gameplay times, I like looking at the PlayStation Wrapped at the end of the year, I even like comparing trophies with my friends, but it's never quite enough for me. Let's say PlayStation takes a page out of Microsoft's playbook and introduce Friends Leaderboards, where you can see a tally of all the trophies that your friends have earned in any given month. I would love to see a mini Wrapped experience where at the end of the month you can see your friends' most played games along with yours and compare. And since the community tab didn't carry over from the PS4, I think this would be a handy replacement in a way. And I don't know about you guys, but like I just like to see what my friends are playing. There's elements of it there on the PS5, like being able to see which of your friends own a certain game and things like that, but again, it could just go so much further, and I think this would go a long way to make the PlayStation 5 feel a lot more like home, if that makes sense. I think it just makes it a lot more of a social experience, because you can go, oh, this guy's been playing this game, or this person over here has been playing that, I wonder why, let's talk about it, let's join games with each other. It could be such a great social experience with these features amplified, let's say, on the PlayStation dashboard. Continuing down the route of additional data, I would love to see PlayStation Stars integrated into the PS5 dashboard. This is a loyalty scheme where you spend money in the store, you earn points, you go up levels, perks are introduced, you even earn digital 3D collectibles via the levels themselves and some challenges. The thing is, absolutely none of this is accessible via the PS5, which to me seems kinda weird. Now, I'm actually level 4, which is the highest level at the moment, and I have not bothered to look at any of these digital collectibles. For one, because I kinda don't care, but also, I'm not going out my way to look for it. If it was there in the store, I would totally check it out, 100%. But at the moment, I feel like so many people don't even really know much about PlayStation Star's existence because it's not properly advertised on the PlayStation. Imagine being able to log in and see your level, the credits that you've built up, the challenges that you've still to complete, the digital collectibles viewable in 4K on the PS5. It almost makes too much sense. So come on, Sony, what is happening there? And lastly, I think the PlayStation 5 dashboard needs a bit of a refresh. In the near 3 years since the PS5 launched, next to nothing has changed about the PlayStation 5 dashboard, which I don't necessarily think is a bad thing, but I do think there's some untapped potential in this dashboard experience. Now, we've had some new details added, like game time or completion on the actual dashboard just under the games, which I think is pretty cool. But man, this is a big 4K HDR screen. I think there's so much more possible with it. I feel like there's a lot of negative space almost with the games being such tiny tabs in the top. I don't think it really capitalizes on this colorful gaming experience. For one, a lot of the activity cards which take over from the general gaming backdrops just don't really do it for me. It's usually just a still image of something. A lot of it's quite dark looking. With that space, you could be adding rows, you could be making the tiles a bit bigger, you could have, like I said, some more dynamic elements with like the themes. Generally, I think some of the stuff I have mentioned could actually help this, but I also feel like some form of refresh could go a long way to making this feel like home, as I mentioned with one of my previous points. Now, in my travels with this whole idea of a new refresh, I came across a YouTube channel called Paolo Manso Animation, and that channel had such a cool concept video of some alternative PlayStation 5 dashboards, and that it was kind of tapping into what I felt was a bit more possible, because this might be a little controversial. I like the style or the look of the Xbox dashboard better than the PlayStation 5, although I do find the PS5's version a lot more practical in its functionality. But I think there's a way to find like a balance between going that extra mile to make it a little bit more sparkly and a bit more colourful, you know, whilst also holding on to what makes this dashboard work so well in the first place. But I have to say, big up to Paolo Manso, because those concepts of the PlayStation 5 dashboard, they're very cool. I think they look awesome and showcase what you can do when you take that concept of the dashboard and add a bit more flavour to it. So those are my top 10 PlayStation 5 features that just need added immediately. Let me know down in the comments what you think of these comments. Would you take it a step further with some suggestions, other things that I've missed out here that you would love to see? Let me know down in the comments, and while you're down there, remember to like the video. That really does help us out, and even better, subscribe to the channel for more PlayStation video content. Of course, we've got a couple of really busy months coming up with Spider-Man, Assassin's Creed, Lords of the Fallen, a million other games that are escaping my mind at this very moment, but it's a busy time ahead, guys, and we're going to be covering so much of that here on the channel. Anyway, thank you as always for watching. I've been Aaron, this has been Push Square, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.